Hey there, everyone. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and you know what that means? Time for family, football, and of course, food. But before you go for seconds, or thirds, let's talk turkey about some common Thanksgiving myths. We have all heard the stories, passed down through generations, about the origins of this beloved holiday. But are they true? Get ready for a wild ride as we separate fact from fiction and uncover the real story behind Thanksgiving. Buckle up, buttercups. It is about to get interesting. So grab your stretchy pants, your appetite for knowledge, and get ready to debunk some Thanksgiving myths. You might be surprised at what you learn along the way. Trust me, it is more exciting than Aunt Carol's cranberry sauce. No offense, Aunt Carol. Let's start with the big one, shall we? The image we often see of the first Thanksgiving, Pilgrims and Native Americans sharing a peaceful feast of turkey, stuffing, and pumpkin pie, is a heartwarming tale. But the reality is a bit more complicated. While there was a harvest celebration in Plymouth, Massachusetts in 1621, it was a far cry from the harmonious gathering we often imagine. Historical records suggest that the three-day event involved the Wampanoag tribe and the Pilgrims. It was not an annual tradition, it was more of a one-off event. And while the exact menu remains a mystery, historians believe it consisted mainly of wildfowl, deer, and fish, with no evidence of the Thanksgiving staples we enjoy today. This is not to say that the event was not significant. It marked a period of cooperation between the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims, who relied on the tribe's knowledge to survive in the unfamiliar land. However, it is essential to acknowledge the complex and often fraught relationship between Native Americans and European colonists that unfolded in the years following that first harvest celebration of 1621. The arrival of the Mayflower was not Wampanoag tribe's first contact with Europeans. The Wampanoags had a century of contact with Europeans, and it was bloody, disease-ridden, and it involved slave raiding by Europeans. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth in 1620, Chief Usamaquin offered the new arrivals an entente, primarily as a way to protect the Wampanoags against their rivals, the Narragansetts. For 50 years, the alliance was tested by colonial land expansion, the spread of disease, and the exploitation of resources on Wampanoag land. Then, in 1675, tensions ignited into war. The conflict devastated many of the Native American tribes in the area, including the Wampanoags and the Narragansetts. Okay, let's talk food. Thanksgiving would not be the same without certain culinary delights, right? But hold on to your gravy boats because some of these Thanksgiving staples might not be as traditional as we think. For starters, there is no evidence that turkey was the main course at the first Thanksgiving. As we learned earlier, wildfowl, venison, and fish were likely the stars of the show. And while pumpkins were available in some form, pumpkin pie as we know it would not appear on Thanksgiving tables for another century. Even cranberry sauce, that sweet and tangy condiment, was not a fixture at early Thanksgiving meals. Cranberries were native to North America, but early settlers used them for their medicinal properties rather than their culinary potential. It was not until much later that cranberry sauce became a Thanksgiving staple. A national holiday is born, not so fast. Picture this. It is the 17th century, and the Pilgrims have just declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. Not quite. While the Pilgrims might have celebrated that first harvest feast, it took centuries for Thanksgiving to become the national holiday we know and love today. There were sporadic calls for a national Thanksgiving throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, but it was not until 1863, in the midst of the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln officially declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. He saw it as a way to unify a nation divided by conflict. Even then, it took several decades for Thanksgiving to gain widespread acceptance and become the beloved holiday we celebrate today. It was not until the late 19th century that Thanksgiving traditions, like football and parades, began to emerge, solidifying its place in American culture. Pardon our myths, the truth about Thanksgiving's presidential turkey. All right, let's talk turkey again, but this time, we are talking about the lucky bird who gets a presidential pardon every year. Yep, it is a real thing, and it has become a beloved Thanksgiving tradition. But did you know it was not always this way? The tradition of sending turkeys to the White House began in the 19th century, but the official pardoning ceremony is a relatively recent development. While President Harry Truman is often credited with being the first to pardon a turkey, the practice did not become an annual tradition until 1989. Each year, 2 turkeys are selected from a flock and flown to Washington, D.C., where they stay at a fancy hotel and attend press conferences. Then, on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the president chooses one lucky bird to receive a pardon, sparing them from the Thanksgiving table. The other turkey? Well, let's just say they get to retire to a petting zoo and live out their days in peace. More than meets the eye, uncovering Thanksgiving's hidden truths. So, there you have it. As we gather around the table this Thanksgiving, let's remember that this holiday is about more than just delicious food and family time. It is an opportunity to reflect on the complexities of history, appreciate the traditions that have shaped our celebrations, and recognize the true meaning behind this beloved holiday. From the real story of the first Thanksgiving to the surprising origins of our favorite dishes, there is always more to learn about this fascinating holiday. So, as you enjoy your Thanksgiving feast, take a moment to share these fun facts with your family and friends. Who knows, you might just become the resident Thanksgiving historian at your next gathering. Now go forth and impress your loved ones with your newfound knowledge. And don't forget to save room for pie. Happy Thanksgiving, Buttercups!
Thank you for watching. Hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. We do like to know and hear your feedback. And if you have the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get early access to our videos and where we post bonus material. Till next time, this is Geeky Tidbits saying cheers and have a good day.